Hey, it's OZChris, and welcome to OZChris versus DC Comics for week 3 of June. We've got a very short week for DC. We got Justice League number 26 and Superman Year 1, number 1. So, on to Justice League number 26, Apex Predator Part 1. Written by James Tynion IV, art by Javier Fernandez, coloring by Hi-Fi, the cover by Francis Manapul. So, more of a prelude into Year of the Villain. There's urban legends of a man in a cloak, which is supposed to be Lex, resurrected with this new powerful body. I think he's later on called Apex Lex. He's now the Apex Predator, but he's referred to as Apex Lex. So there's rumors of this man in a cloak who is going around bringing people's cruelest desires into reality. He gives them something to help them, and in turn something bad happens. All of his plans to lead everything to doom, to steer it away from justice, lead it to doom. So John, given his history with Lex that was revealed within this run for Justice League, is searching for him and trying to stop him. He feels like it's his responsibility to do so, and in doing so he's isolating himself from the Justice League. So while that is going on, other members of the Justice League, we are Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, Green Lantern, Flash, head to the Hall of Heroes to speak with every other Justice League from across the multiverse, asking for their help. They know they're asking much. Bring the fight to their universe, leaving their universes without any protectors. But they need as much help as they can to defeat Perpetua and to steer everything away from doom, steer it towards justice. And one of the things they need to do is to locate the World Forger's brothers, the Monitors, the Anti-Monitor and the Monitor. And then while this is going on in the Hall of Justice, Kendra and Mera are training and recruiting more members to be part of this big Justice League team that's needed for this final fight, the whole Justice Doom War and all of that. So you have, Mr. Terrific, Blue Beetle, the Atom, the Metal Men as well. You got Detective Chimp, Green Arrow, and all that. So different aspects. So you've obviously got the scientist, the tech side. You've got the detective sides as well, and then Hawkman and Black Canary are training the younger members, so the Teen Titans and members of the Titans as well. So mainly the fighters. But while all of this is going on, Starman's trying to reconnect the totality, but it's very taxing and costing a lot. There's a toll on his body whenever he does so. So him and Jara are trying to achieve that. And Kendra's worried about John isolating himself. He is the chairman of the Justice League. He is their leader. And in a time they need him most, he's off on his own, doing his own thing, ignoring everyone. And Mera gives Kendra the talk. It's just he needs to be here now. The Justice League needs its leader here right now. If he's not going to listen, force him. So Kendra, go to him, bring him back. And at the end, John finds Luthor, just with a twist. I won't reveal what that is. So story 4 out of 5. I think this was really, really good. I've already said it before, but I'm personally excited to see what Year of the Villain entails and everything leading up to Justice Doom War. This whole big story arc that Snyder and Tynion and the rest of the team are building up. I'm so excited to see where this is going. And this is another good prelude to that, laying the foundations. We're seeing the Justice side getting ready for their part in the war. The art by Hernandez and the coloring by Hi-Fi, 4 out of 5. I really like the art and the coloring in this. Not particularly a big fan of the faces, especially when it's like depending on like different angles or if it's like slightly obscured by shadows. But overall, the art and the coloring was really good, great. And for the cover by Francis Manapul, I'm gonna give this 4 out of 5, particularly mainly for the art and coloring itself. It's a really good looking cover. I like the art. I like the coloring. Great looking cover. Problem is, this has nothing to do with the issue. The death of Starman. Starman's not dying. It's just it's hurting him trying to bring the totality back together from different points in time. But Starman, there is no death of Starman. The Legion of Doom is not involved with this apart from Lex and just a mention of the where their headquarters is. So the cover is kind of false advertising, but art and coloring on otherwise is pretty good. So on to Superman Year 1, another addition to DC's Black Label. So issue number 1, book 1. So written by Frank Miller. You have story and art by Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. You have the coloring by Alex Sinclair, and this cover is by Frank Miller and Alex Sinclair. I like the coloring on it. Not a big fan of Miller's art, but I found this much more appealing than the Romita Jr. cover, in my opinion. So this is another take on Superman's origin. So opening up, you start off with him being sent off by his parents as Krypton is being destroyed. He arrives on Earth. In this one, it's not Jonathan and Martha Kent that find him. It's just Jonathan finds him and takes him home back to Martha. They adopt him, and we go through like the various stages of Clark growing up. So as a toddler, he's starting to display some of his powers. So leaping, leaping very high, being incredibly fast as well. An early stage of his heat vision, and all in all, this leads up to his time in high school, where it really drives in his morals, which would later help him become Superman. So in high school, he's faced with these dilemmas. His friends, or as the weirdos as they're called, because they're different. You got the fat kids, you got the emos and all that. They're called the weirdos because they're different from everyone else. Harsh as that may be, that's what they're called. And when they're being bullied, Clark feels conflicted on what to do. So as he says to his parents, do I talk to those bullies or do I just flatten them? Martha saying, I won't have any more words of violence at my table. Jonathan says, first talk to them, then flatten them. So, and given that he has all of these powers, he really questions, what can he do? He sees injustice. Jonathan tells him later on, you can take the high road. You can take the high road, be better than them. But also there's the part of him that's thinking there should be justice against injustice. The bullies should be, in a way, punished for their terrible acts, for their bullying, pretty much. So that is the majority of this book, just Clark having to live this normal life, having to face these moral dilemmas. What is it that he's doing? Is it inherently good? Is he going too far? Does he want to go too far? And all that. And also later on, as he makes he's made his friends. He also makes friends with Lana Lang, saves her. They become romantically involved. So witnessing his, I'm going to say, considering this is an Elseworlds-esque title, a different take on how Clark's first love with Lana, and in the end, after saving her, having all of these powers, he wants to explore the rest of the world. As he says, he can hear everything. He hears all the kind of the bad that's kind of going on. So he decides to join the Navy. He tells his adoptive parents he wants to join the Navy, thinking it's the best way to pretty much travel the world, to see everything, to leading onto this path of him eventually becoming Superman, becoming a superhero. So that was Superman Year 1 story. 4 out of 5. This was really good. I'm a bit mixed when it comes to Miller. A lot of his most kind of like recent stuff hasn't been particularly good, but this was really interesting. Not particularly original with just doing another origin of Superman, but I really found this interesting, just seeing uh, him growing up, him getting installed with these, truth, justice, and the kind of American way morals and all of that early on within his life, and him developing on with it, especially him deciding to join the Navy to see the rest of the world and pretty much find out who he is. Who is he? What kind of man does he want to be? So Miller did this very, very well in the first issue, the first book. So definitely 4 out of 5 for this story. The art and coloring by Romita Jr. and Alex Sinclair. 4 out of 5. The art and coloring was really, really good. I'm not particularly a big fan of how Romita draws faces and also sometimes legs, but overall, I think the art and coloring was really, really good. Like, when I mean, I'm not a fan of a way here he draws like faces or heads. Clark as a toddler, his head looks way bigger than it should be. It's in comparison to the rest of his body, there's a huge contrast. Like, it's just big, and then everything else is like, okay, that would be like the regular sized body of a toddler, but his head was just like, Jesus Christ, what's going on? His 5,000 level intellect right there affecting the size of his head. But no, overall the art and coloring was really, really good. 4 out of 5. The cover itself, 3.5. It's a good cover. I'm not a particularly big fan of Miller's artwork. The coloring is good. The art is all right. But I found this much more appealing than John Romita Jr.'s covers, so I'll definitely give it a 3.5. So that is it for those two. Definitely pick up either of these, but especially Superman Year One. I was really impressed with how good this was, how much I enjoyed it. So definitely, if you haven't already, pick up Superman Year One. And that is all. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time.